You're listening to the Blue 82 podcast, hosted by Craig and Nicholas. Please like and subscribe so we know that you like what we're doing. And now, let's talk football. Blue 82!
Welcome back, everybody, to the Blue 82 podcast. I'm here with my co-host, as usual, Nicholas. And we're going to be breaking down Week 10 of football. This is episode 14, number 14. I'm excited, Nick. Are you excited?
Correct?
I'm going to need some energy out of you, man. I mean, we're here. We're at home. We're filming a podcast. We had a great week of football. I need some energy, my dude. Because just lock it in, brother. Lock it in. Okay?
I'm just here so I don't get fined.
Job's not done. But no, as usual, we appreciate y'all. We got a couple more subscribers. That's lit. I love it. We're up to 16 now. To most, that might not be big numbers, but at least to me, I think that's freaking awesome. I appreciate y'all. Nick appreciates y'all. We love that y'all are supporting us. Yeah.
I mean, again, it's just nice to see, like, pretty much on average, I'd say, like, 25 views per video pretty much at this point right now.
Yep.
It was a bit higher to start off, but then the last couple weeks has not been 25, I would say. Again, anything is better than zero, because I honestly thought, like, we maybe get, like, 1-2 views a video, and that's that. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect to have anyone really even watching, like, so
I love it.
It blows my expectations out of the water for what I thought.
And it's
like, I thought maybe we'd get like one and it'd be my fucking girlfriend.
Yeah. We need to get, I mean, truthfully, like, I've said it before, and me and Nick don't really expect anything out of this. We're just doing it because we love talking football. We can sit here and talk football even when we're not doing the podcast. I mean, every week before we film the podcast, me and Nick are sitting here bullshitting about what happened that day or those Sundays games for 2 hours before we even fire the podcast up. So we could literally sit here all day and talk about football. With that being said, we're going to try to eventually get a little bit better at maybe promoting it, maybe getting some clips out there and maybe grow even more. I mean, that's not really the goal at all, and we've mentioned that. But I mean, anything, who knows what happens from here. So we're just vibing, doing our thing, trying to keep it going, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
I love it, though. I do love it. So we had an exciting week of football, Nick. It was week 10. We're, like, officially pretty much halfway through the season. So I'm excited.
Well, technically in the second half of the season. Though.
Yeah, second half of the season. I think last week, like, the Monday night game was, like, technically the dead mark of the halfway through.
I think it was week 9, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Week 9's pretty much halfway.
Let's see. So, I mean, we had a good week of football. A lot of exciting plays, big-time plays, couple upsets. We had some things pop off, so we got a lot to talk about here. I think we'll go ahead and kick it off like we normally do with the news and injuries and things like that. Let's see. Quick news I wanted to highlight on that popped up an hour ago or so, which is kind of surprising to me. The running back, or the Cardinals released the running back, Benjamin, which I don't know, a lot of y'all may not know, but he took over the job for a couple weeks while James Conner was hurt, and he did pretty well. So this is kind of a surprising, at least for me, a surprising release. He seemed like a good little running back, so I don't really know why they released him, but maybe it was something in the
behind the scenes.
Behind the scenes, yeah. So
maybe they're doing him a favor type of thing. I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? Maybe they know he's talented and they got James Conner and they're like, look, we're gonna start feeding James Conner. Maybe you can go out and get some touches somewhere else. I don't know.
Something definitely happened though, because it seems weird. Because like we talked before, that he's probably not getting paid a lot of money, so it's weird to see him just get randomly cut.
Yeah. And especially, he's a younger dude.
Just like no reason. Like, yeah. I don't know.
I think he's a second-year guy, Nick. So it's like that's essentially somebody y'all are letting go that's that young, and you already have a running back that deals with injuries. He hasn't played a full season any season that he's been in. You know what I mean? It's just kind of a weird
He's
release.
23,
Yeah,
and they were paying him like 500,000.
Yeah, see, that's crazy. Like, why? So something had to have happened, and I'm sure.
Like his sign-his bonus was 25K.
Yeah, I'm sure somewhere down the road we'll hear something. But that was just surprising to me. As far as injuries go, I think a big one for a lot of people, and we talked about this last week, I think, because Cooper Kupp was dealing with an injury last week or a couple weeks ago and ended up playing through it, or playing anyways. But during the game yesterday, Cooper Kupp got like rolled up on or fell on his ankle or something like that. It was looked pretty rough when it happened. I heard from the get-go it was going to be like a pretty severe injury, but now it seems like that at first glance he'll miss some time, but it's not catastrophic, so it may not be as bad as it is with his ankle injury. They're still going to do some more tests, so we'll find out for sure for that. I know that has a lot of impact for fantasy and things like that. He's a top guy for fantasy for a lot of people, so that's just something to keep an eye on. Let's see. It looks like running back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Leonard Fournette, is likely to be ready for Tampa Bay's next game after its bye in Cleveland. He's dealing with a hip injury. He went out midway through the game on Sunday, but it sounds like he's going to be back after their bye week this week. So another one to keep an eye on. Titans cornerback Caleb Farley suffered a disc injury on Sunday. I think it's like a herniated disc. They're going to do some more tests on that to see what happens. What else we got? Let's see.
The Zach Ertz one out for the year.
Oh, Zach Ertz, yeah, out for the season.
Knee injury.
That's a big one for.
Kyle Murray didn't play. Cliff Kingsbury said Monday that Murray's hamstring remains day to day. Another big one was Marquise Brown.
Yeah, they're saying he might be ready.
He went on injury reserve, it looks like.
No, that was like 4 weeks ago. What?
So status injury reserve. Is he still on it?
Yeah, he's still on it. They came out today.
Oh, he's getting close.
Yeah, they came out today.
It says he'll definitely be back.
Close.
It says Cliff Kingsbury says that he's getting close and would definitely be back after the team's Week 13 bye at the latest.
Yeah, so he'll probably be back.
Brian
in a couple
Murphy,
weeks.
their cornerback, he's undergoing testing on Monday.
I think he had an ankle injury 2 weeks ago, and then I think he played through it this week. But I guess it's still bothering him if they're doing tests again on it. Another one, Broncos wide receiver Jerry Jeudy has a mild ankle injury. His status for this week has not been determined, but they received promising results. He left like early in the game with the ankle injury. Another piece of news, it looks like that they might be talking about in New Orleans maybe a switch back to Jameis Winston. So we'll see what happens with that. We don't have much news on that yet. They've just been, I think they're talking to Jameis Winston and the doctors about his health and seeing what's going on with that. Let's see. I think that's
another one too is PJ Walker.
Yeah. Oh, I did see. I meant to tell you that earlier before the podcast. Yeah, I think they came out and said that Baker's going to be starting this week against the Ravens because PJ Walker's dealing with his ankle injury or high
Lots
ankle
of
sprain.
ankle injuries.
Yeah, lots of ankles, lots of hamstrings, which is tough because those high ankle sprains and those hamstring injuries, dude, just tend to linger throughout the year, and it just makes it hard for players. I mean, look at Keenan Allen; the dude's missed like the whole season. So those are just things to keep an eye on. It looks like John Harbaugh said tight end Mark Andrews, like many of the Ravens injured players, because they have quite a few right now. It looks like he has a really good chance of playing Sunday against the Panthers. So that'll be good. Lamar can get his weapon back. Lord knows he's running short on weapons, so that definitely helps. Yeah, I think that's really all the injuries and news I have this week so far.
I'm just still scrolling through real quick. OPTY Odds, the defensive tackle for the Chargers, is expected to miss the rest of 2022 due to a quadricep injury.
Somebody in chat said Bills are winning the Super Bowl. Interesting. Interesting take. Chirp.
Doesn't one he knows or like a.
Nah, yeah, someone I know.
Oh, okay.
Let's see.
Oh yeah, the Emmanuel Ogbah, the defensive end for the Dolphins, tricep. He's on injury reserve, done for the year.
Done for the year.
Not good.
A lot of injuries happening, man. You hate to see it.
Does Zadarius Smith play? It said he was questionable. It says here he's dealing with a knee contusion.
I think he played, yeah.
Oh, it says here that Smith is dealing with a knee contusion following Sunday's 33-30 win. So that's not good.
Yeah. He's leading the team right now with 9.5
Their offensive
sacks.
tackle, Christian Darrisaw, suffered a concussion.
That's not good either.
That's some pretty big losses there.
Vikings need all their players. They're making a run.
It says here Devontae Parker was out.
Devontae fucking Parker, huh? Here we go again.
His knee injury. His knee.
Oh, here we go again with the knee injury. Yeah, I think that's all I got for injuries. Things like that.
What if the Eagles have like no one on injuries?
I think there's a list that goes around, Nick, and it's it's called like a bus score. And it's like the
I've seen that. Yeah.
And I think the Eagles are at the top.
Minka Fitzpatrick was out. Appendix is expected to miss 7 to 10 days after an appendicitis.
Appendicitis. He pretty much got his appendix taken out.
Yeah. Yeah, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Trey Lance got an update here. It says Lance's ankle was seen walking without crutches or a medical boot as he recovers from surgery. Interesting. I don't think he plays again though. I don't know what that's today.
He's not playing. He's out for the season, brother.
We talked about Winter Fournette, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Chase Young won't be activated tonight. That's one for tonight's game. It says Jonathan Williams, their running back, was added to the game status report as questionable for Monday's night game. J.D. McKissick will not play on Monday against the Eagles. Another running back. That's it for me. The only other news I have is that we switched from fucking Ellinger to Matt Ryan.
Oh, that's a big one.
That's the only other news I can think of.
Well, it's funny, that came out like the day of that they were making that switch.
Yeah. It was a weird, like, quiet move.
Yeah, I didn't really expect that.
But it worked out, so.
Yeah, it did. They got the dub against the in shambles Raiders, but we'll talk about that. Yeah, I think it's going to wrap up news and injuries. We'll go ahead and get into our... we don't have any special segments this week. We were going to do a segment on, like, draft prospects and talk about that, but I think we're going to save that for the offseason. That way we can, like, pin together what teams these potential draft prospects can go into, and when it gets closer to draft, we start breaking things down like that. Because at first, me and Nick weren't going to keep this... We were going to do, like, a in-season podcast and then take a few months off or whatever in the offseason and then come back. But I think the way things are going, I think we probably want to try to keep it going through the off season. So that'll be something we'll save in the off season. That way we'll have some things to talk about and do like some draft episodes, and might even do some mock drafts and things like that based off what teams need and things like that. So, because I know there's some websites out there, Nick, that you can like have everybody's picks and you can trade picks and things like that. So that'll be cool to do. But we're gonna save that for that. We'll have some special stuff for that coming in the off season, but we'll go ahead and break down we'll start with week 9's Monday night game. We had the Ravens at the Saints. I don't remember stuff very easily, man.
This game,
nothing.
I don't know if I watched it. I can't even remember anything.
Which, Nick, it kind of seems the theme lately for these Sundays and Monday night games. Just nothing memorable.
These primetime games in general, Thursday,
Yeah.
Monday, Sunday, like they all have been like, meh. Like there's nothing to really like write home about.
Yeah, no, 100%. I think if I
The only
remember
thing I remember with this
correctly,
game was that I bet on Justin Tucker to hit 2 field goals and it hit. So
yeah, he
that's
did.
all I remember.
Yeah, this was the game that Mark Andrews left with the injury. Actually, I don't even know if he played.
I don't think he played.
Yeah, that was the game before. I don't even know, dude. I just know
No,
the
he didn't
Saints are
play.
in shambles. The Ravens got another dub before their bye week. They don't play again until week 11 next week, so we'll see what happens with that. But
I
Ravens
just
got
saw
another
here
dub.
that Lamar had 122 passing yards.
Yeah.
Or sorry, 133. Kenny Drake had 93 rushing yards. Lamar had 82.
Yeah, they pretty much just ran the ball that whole time. I do remember the Saints couldn't get nothing going on offense. Like, it was a rough game for them. We'll go ahead and get into...
I watched the Manning cast now. I remember right now. Yes.
Yeah.
I like watching that.
Oh, the Manning cast is awesome, dude. My dad, it's so funny. I'll put them on Monday nights. I'll put the Manning cast on, and my dad's always like, "How do you watch these two fucking guys?" And I'm like, "It's funny."
It's so hard to watch like the actual game,
Oh,
but
absolutely.
they make it entertaining.
Yeah. All right. So starting with week 10, we had Thursday night. Falcons at the Panthers. Me and Nick both picked the Falcons on this game. But the Panthers came out. They ran the ball. They had Deontay Foreman run for 130 yards and a tutty. This honestly was like a kind of a dominating win for the Panthers. Like, the Falcons didn't move the ball a whole lot. Made a couple mistakes. They couldn't get their run game going.
Just I don't know, just a sloppy game.
It was all right. It wasn't bad. I was at work and I caught the end of it. I had Deontay Foreman starting in fantasy. The
Foreman
whole
was
week,
going off, but
yeah.
man, Marcus Mariota, I don't know.
I used to think, bro. Here's the thing with Marcus Mariota for me. I used to think he kind of got screwed in the whole Titans situation. Didn't get the starting job anymore.
Yeah.
Got released or traded, whatever it was, and then was the backup for the Raiders. I used to think he got screwed in that situation, but
Yeah.
looking at him now, it's like, dude, I just don't think he's a starting caliber quarterback.
What's
Like,
crazy to me is
I know the Falcons don't have a lot of weapons, but
what's crazy to me is how bad is Riddler then that he's not playing? You know what I mean? Like he's not even like just trying.
Like, how?
Like what's just like what are you gonna lose at this point?
At some point, like, I feel like if they lose like 2 more games, Ritter's gonna get the job and start playing just so they can see.
Because like Drake London started off so hot, and then it's like now it's like he's not even getting like looked at really. Like I don't know. I mean, looking at the stats here, Mariota was sacked 5 times.
Yeah, they're just. I mean, you can tell.
I mean, even Kyle
difference.
Pitts, like.
Yeah, the Kyle Pitts story, man, is just something else. He's one of the most like athletic tight ends out there, and he's just not even getting fed the rock. It's crazy.
All people in fantasy pissed off about that one.
Oh yeah, I think it's just you can tell the difference in a team like the Falcons and a team like I don't know, just any other like playoff caliber team. Like they're just missing so much. The Falcons
like the
are
Chiefs,
like,
the
yeah,
Bills,
like
the Dolphins,
they're just nowhere
the
near
Ravens,
that. You know what I mean?
the Vikings.
So they
I get it,
got
but
a long
it's
way
just
to
wild
go.
to me. Like how bad is Riddler though that he's not even getting a chance? Because at this point, like what more do you have to lose?
I don't know if it's that how bad is he. I think it's they think Mariota's the guy and they think that they could still salvage this season. So
salvage it,
like,
all right.
Yeah,
In the fucking
you know what
dumps.
I mean? Yeah, so I think they definitely need to make that move just to see what they have in Ritter. That way they know if they need to go after a quarterback or you know what I mean. But yeah, Panthers got another dub. I feel like this is going to be the theme with the Panthers the rest of the season. They're going to have a couple bad games, they might squeak out another game. Couple bad games, squeak out another game. Like,
I mean, I can see it. They can keep running the ball.
Yeah, they're running the fuck out of the ball, dude. Like, Deontay Foreman is, in my mind, solidifying himself as the starting running back for the Panthers for next season. I mean, I don't know how you would go away from that guy if it seems like every game he's getting over 100 yards.
100%. I I don't know how you would bench that guy or change him out to anyone else. Like, you got to keep giving him the ball. He is popping the fuck off.
Which is exciting. So a little quick backstory. Like 3, 4, 5 years ago, whenever he got drafted by the Texans. He's from Texas, and the Texans ended up drafting him. And I was excited because he seemed like he was going to be a good little running back. And then I think that his first year he like tore his Achilles or something like that, and ended up not playing. And then I think he came back and they just didn't give him a whole lot of opportunities. And then he got released, and then he got picked up by the Titans, and we saw him last year take over the backfield when Henry was out for the Titans, and he did pretty well. And then he got signed by the Panthers, and here he is again, no CMC, doing well for himself. So I think he can solidify himself as a good running back in this league. I mean, I'm not saying he's fucking top 5, top 10, but he's a good little running back. Next, we got the Sunday games. First game in Germany, Nick. Kind of a disappointment. Oh, I wanted the Seahawks to win.
Started off as a disappointment, but then it started getting kind of close near the end.
It got better.
Gino started off like ass, like could not do anything, and then it seems like they kind of gotten like their rhythm, but it was like a little bit too late.
Too late, yeah.
Yeah, too little too late. Like, they just couldn't finish it off.
It was good to see the Seahawks
Kenneth Walker got shut down, though.
Yeah, he did get shut down in the first half, and then the second half, they just started doing that whole short pass thing. Like, that's what I was getting at. Like, second half, they came out and made adjustments, realized they weren't running the ball, so they just started doing, like, 10-yard passes, 15-yard passes, 5-yard passes. Like, they changed their game plan completely in the second half, and that's why we saw them come out and kind of almost make that comeback. So that's good to see they're making adjustments like that and realize they're not moving the ball and got away from it. Yeah, Kenneth Walker definitely got fucking shut down for sure. But I think he'll have a bounce back week. I think that they have a bye week this week, and then they'll come back, and I think he'll be fine. Tom Brady, we talked about it, Nick. Tom Brady tried to get a catch out there yesterday and fell down.
Jesus.
That was something else, man.
I don't see how you have a play in your book for a 45-year-old to go out and play wide receiver. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Again.
But I got to give Rashad White his fucking props. That dude was running the ball.
Yeah.
Rashad White, whatever you say it.
He's looking promising. We'll see what happens.
Sounds like he won't be may not be a complete starter, but he might get some more carries after that.
Oh, yeah.
Especially if Fournette's dealing with something.
What do you have, like 18 carries, 105 yards? Solid game.
22, 105, 4.8 a carry. Even Chris Godwin, my guy, he was doing his thing. He had 8 targets, 6 catches, 71 yards, 1 TD.
Yeah.
Mike Evans, that dude was literally just catching everything. Every time I looked up, it almost seemed like Mike Evans was getting the ball.
Yeah.
He had 6 targets for 5 catches, 54 yards. Like,
Rashad White kind of closed the game out for him too. Like at that last
after
drive,
they got the ball back and boom, it was just handing it off. Boom, first down, done.
Over and over.
Game was over.
Yeah, and then he could have had a touchdown, but he slid down. Made a smart play.
Smart play. Nick Chubb wishes he would have done that.
Nick Chubb's done that twice, bro. That's so unfortunate. What's funny is he did it one time, and then the second time he tried to do the opposite because of what he did the first time, and then it still backfired. So it's like, dude, that's so unfortunate, man. But it was a good little game. First game in Germany. The Bucks.
I think Tom Brady's the only person that's like 3? I think it was 3-0 in foreign countries.
Tom he's also won a game in 4 different countries. United States,
is that what
Mexico,
it was? Yeah.
United States, Mexico, Germany, and London. He's won a game.
So he's 4-0. There you go.
Yeah. That's a crazy stat.
It's a weird stat. Wild stat.
The Bucks are back at 5-5. I mean, we've said it all year that
it's their division to lose.
Yeah, you know what I mean? They're getting back in a rhythm somewhat. I don't think they're the Bucks of old. They still got a long ways to go when it comes to that, but this is definitely a good step. They were able to run the ball, move the ball down the field, finally got in the end zone more than one time this game, so that's exciting. But yeah, so we'll see how they look in the upcoming weeks after their bye, but looks like they're on the right track now. The next game, Nick, what a fucking stunner. What a just absolute great game. Vikings.
Game of the week.
Might be game of the year at this point, right? Like, definitely one of the better games to watch
Definitely
this year.
up there.
I think you can make the case for the Ravens-Dolphins game. That comeback was fucking crazy. But this was definitely a good game. Vikings end up taking on the Bills and end up beating them 33-30 in overtime. Vikings stayed 8-1. Bills moved down to 6-3 and are now third in the division? Third in the division, which is absolutely nuts. Justin Jefferson had himself a day. He had 10 catches, I think 194 yards and a touchdown. Pretty much put the team on his back on that last drive when they were trying to score to tie the game or to take the lead at the end. Justin Jefferson just had an incredible catch, probably catch of the year. Just absolutely disgusting. The dude's one of the best in the league for a reason. And then not only that, man, like me and Nick talk about this all the time, how the Bills and the Chiefs, we think their downfall is the fact that they can't run the ball. And you got a team like the Vikings that literally pass the ball, run the ball, do whatever, make plays on defense. Like, just seem like a good, well-rounded team to where you almost want to put them above the Bills or the Chiefs for that reason. But just an exciting win for the Vikings. Josh Allen had another back-to-back game where he didn't play the greatest. And me and Nick have talked about this a lot outside of the podcast. And it just seems like they're not running the ball, first off, which costs them. We talk about it time and time after time. Second off, they're just whether it's them putting too much pressure on Allen or Allen putting too much pressure on himself to try to make plays, it's just coming to bite them in the ass, in my opinion. I still think he's a great quarterback, but I think with these two back-to-back performances, we have to take him down a tier when it comes to talking about MVP race. Like, as far as the season goes, like, nobody's taking credit away from the guy. He's fucking talented as all get out, but he's just making too many mistakes at this point. I mean, he's leading the league in interceptions this year. You know what I mean? So that's not something you want to see from an MVP caliber quarterback that we keep putting up on this pedestal. You know what I mean?
100% agree. I think at the end of the day, if you're going to be an MVP, you got to be someone that's carrying your team to wins. And so far, we're seeing him now the last 2 weeks. He's carrying them to losses pretty much. Like,
yeah. I mean, back-to-back weeks, he threw, 2 interceptions? This week he had a fumble. I want to say he had a fumble last week too. So back-to-back weeks with 3 turnovers? I mean, that's not MVP caliber play. I mean, and again, we can make the case for, is it the Bills' fault for not running the ball? Is it whatever? But at the end of the day, he's costing his team these wins. You know what I mean? Like, this is 2 games that essentially they should have won. And I think a little bit needs to go on the defense. They let the Vikings come back and score. I'm not going to take that away. But at the same time, like, you can't be making these mistakes. I mean, all you have to do at the end of the game is field the snap, do a quarterback sneak, get a yard, and then you have enough room to kneel out the ball and the game's over and you win. But the one thing you have to do on a quarterback sneak is field the snap. Dude drops the ball. Allows the Vikings to get a touchdown because you fumble it in the end zone. Vikings recover in the end zone, get a touchdown. Now they're winning. You have to go down, drive down, and kick a field goal to tie it to go to overtime, which probably shouldn't even happen because there was a play that they called a completion that shouldn't have been a completion that they never reviewed.
Should never have happened.
Yeah, should never have happened.
That play should have been overturned.
Yeah.
On the spot.
So, just mistakes that just can't happen, man. Like, you just can't be doing that.
And then they get the ball after the Vikings settle for a field goal in overtime. Goes down the field, throws the interception. See you later. Game's over.
Game's over. So, just...
Yeah, I think back-to-back these weeks have knocked Josh Allen, in my opinion, out of the top 5 at least MVP for right now.
Yeah, I would.
He could probably put him top 10 still, but he's definitely he's not top 5 anymore.
Yeah, I mean, just real quick, like let's look at this, right? Just so since we're on this topic, you talking about passing, right? So passing yards. Let's see. Yeah, he's third in passing yards with 27.33, right? Awesome. Yep. That's cool. Touchdowns, he's second with 20 touchdowns. Great. Interceptions, leading the league with 10 interceptions. Not good. Completion percentage, he's sitting at 64. Whoops. Where'd it go?
Just do it again. You have to scroll down.
Yeah. It's sitting at 64.5% completion percentage, which isn't good at all. Like, you got people like Mac Jones, Daniel Jones, Trevor Lawrence, Aaron Rodgers, like Mahomes, of course, Murray, Kenny Pickett, Jordan Love only threw it fucking 9 times. Jimmy G, like all these dudes are above him in completion percentage. Like, that just, you need to be better at completing passes, and I think a lot of that stems from they're having to throw the ball so much. So of course you're gonna have more incompletions. I think it just all boils back down to what we say all the time, Nick. They just can't run the ball. You know what I mean? They just can't run the ball.
The thing I don't understand too is like they should be able to run the ball. Like, you know what I mean? Like, how do you not mix in the read options or play action? Like, you already are throwing it so much. Like, you should be able to always run it. I feel like you're probably facing mostly like nickel packages, right?
Oh yeah, because they know you throw so much.
So I'm saying, like, how can you not run the ball versus that? It makes no sense. Or why do you not run the ball as much? Like,
it might just be play calling. They might just not be calling to run the ball.
Whatever they're doing, it doesn't make sense to me because we talk all the time, like, when the weather is shitty, you can't just throw it 50 times a game. Like, this game alone, Kirk Cousins was 30 of 50. Obviously, it went to overtime. Josh Allen was 29 of 43.
Yeah.
Singletary had 13 runs. Delvin Cook had 14 for 119 yards, 8.5 a carry. Singletary had 13, 47 yards, 3.6 a carry. Josh Allen had 6 for 84 yards. Like, this is the thing I told you about at the beginning, Craig, was that I like how Josh Allen plays, but at the same time, it worries me that he's running it so much, he's going to get fucking hurt. And, like, already now he's dealing with the elbow injury, right?
Yeah.
Granted, it didn't come out of him running it, but still, it's like you're asking this guy to do so much that it could honestly backfire at any point.
Oh, absolutely. And
like, all it takes is your cleat gets stuck, you get hit in the knee, boom, your ACL is done for the year. Like,
and just real quick, I want to point out that you said like you can't throw the ball 50 times, and just FYI, the only reason the Kirk Cousins threw it 50 times was because they were down, and that's also why the Vikings have just as many rush attempts as the Bills. But with that being said, the Bills had the lead and had like a 17, 14-point lead. At that point, you need to start trying to mix in some runs, get some long drives, and they just didn't do that. I mean, you're telling me that the Vikings were down 17 points?
And that's another beautiful point you brought up, too. Like, when you're leading like that, you got to be able to chew the clock out by pounding the ball.
You can't.
And they can't do it. So it's like he's going to eventually, he's going to miss a throw. Yeah. Like, he's not perfect.
No. How many rush attempts did you say Dalvin had versus Singletary?
14. Singletary had 13.
Yeah, so you're telling me a team that was down 17 points still has the same amount of rushing attempts as you?
Actually,
what is that?
One more, but yeah.
Yeah. And not only that, Nick, he ran the ball 4 or 5 times.
And he was
in
running
overtime.
For 8.5 a carry. That's what I'm saying. So it's almost...
Well, that gets inflated a little bit because of the big run. He had the 71-yard touchdown run. So that gets inflated a little bit for that. But he ran the ball, 4 times in overtime? So you take 4 away from that? In regulation, he ran the ball 10 versus their 13. So it's like, that's just, you're not going to win games that way if you're the Bills. Like, the Vikings just kept at it. They fucking played their hearts out and won themselves a game. It's just crazy. I picked them to win, by the way. I remember I called Nick a poser and a fake fan because he picked the Bills over the Vikings. Yep.
Again, could have went either way.
No, it could have.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Next, we got the Lions and the Bears. This was a good game, which is surprising out of these two teams, right? This game went back and forth a lot. The Bears kind of had like a commanding lead, and then Lions do the Lions.
It's kind of weird they say it's a surprisingly good game, though, because it's like, you got to think on paper it could be a good game because of how explosive the Lions offense has been before. It's just been hurt, right?
Yeah, I mean surprising in a sense of most people look at the Lions and the Bears and like, oh, that game's gonna suck. You know what I mean? But,
I get it. But like, if you actually paid attention to like the stats and stuff, it probably should have played out almost pretty much how it could have. I expected it to be maybe like 31-20 though. Like one team's up, the other team's not really there. You know what I mean? But I was shocked that it came down to literally. I think this came down to the last drive too, wasn't it?
Yeah, the Bears had the ball. They were trying to drive to kick the game-winning field goal, and I think. Why do I almost want to say Fields threw a pick?
Did he throw a pick?
I don't know.
I can't remember. It was on red zone. He did throw a pick, but I don't know if it was that one.
But yeah, I know they had the ball last, and they were going to drive, and then they either went 4 and out or not 4 and out, but didn't convert on 4th down, or he threw a pick or something like that. But either way, just a good game overall. I memean, the Lions again doing the Lions thing, playing their hearts out, staying in the game, keep fighting at it, keep breaking down the lead. You know what I mean? So it's a good game. I think both of these teams, we've talked about it before, show some promise. You know what I mean? Like we talked about at the beginning of the year, the Bears have one of the worst rosters. Like they're not going to be anything. And then
it just says here that it was 1st and 10. He ran to the right, gained 5 yards. 2-minute warning. Steps back to pass, incomplete. That was 2nd down. So 3rd down, steps back to pass, incomplete. Penalty. So that's when they got the 1st down. Steps back to pass, incomplete. Steps back to pass, sacked. Short pass complete for a gain of 7. Timeout. 4th down. Steps back to pass, sacked.
Yeah, so it looks like the Bears are just the complete opposite of the Bills right now. Like, they can run the fuck out of the ball, but when it comes to a passing situation, they just struggle so much. You know what I mean? Whether it's Fields just struggling in the passing category or not getting the blocks. That's why we saw him get sacked a couple times on that drive. Like, the Bears just, it seems like when they're in those passing-only downs, they start to struggle a bit.
I want to say Fields threw a pick 6. That's what it was.
Yeah, it was. I think it was a drive before that he threw a pick 6.
I remember he said that he would quote me, like he was like, "I'll never do that again" or something like that.
Yeah.
It was like I saw a quote about it. Yeah, it's definitely a close game. I saw Fields. It was like I was telling my dad about it because I was watching his game on Red Zone a little bit, and I was actually starting to watch it live when it was happening, while I was waiting for the Bills game to happen or to come back from commercial. And there's a few times where it's like he was running around Justin Fields, trying to make a play. Like you'd step up in the pocket, he'd back up, make a guy miss, and I'm like, this guy's been like already holding the ball for like what 10, 12 seconds now.
Way too long.
And I'm like, yeah, it is way too long. But at the same time, I'm like, he's keeping the play alive, which I like. But it's like there's no one open. Like you're telling me nobody got open. You know what I mean? Like that's wild to me. Like he would throw the ball and like the guy's right behind him and he just knocks it down. I'm like, how do you not get open when this guy's running around and you're asking these corners for the Lions that again aren't any huge names? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they're one of the worst defenses, and like you're asking these guys to cover guys for like 10 seconds, 12 seconds. Like nobody got open. Like it was just crazy to me.
I'm wondering, Nick, if this is going to be another situation that we've talked about before and we've hit on. Is he going to be one of those quarterbacks that takes a step when he finally gets a true number one? Because, I mean, it's the same situation you're talking about because, you like you said, he's scrambling for 10 seconds and you're telling me none of these wide receivers got open? Like, that seems crazy to me. So is it just a case of they're just lacking weapons and maybe that's why we're seeing him not be able to throw the ball that much because nobody's getting open? Or, I don't know. It'll be something interesting to see in the future.
Yeah, I'm definitely curious to see if he can take that step forward if they are able to get him someone. I just don't know if they're going to trade for someone. They probably have to draft someone at this point because what are they going to get? Like a top? I think they have their picks, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, they have their picks. So it's like they should be able to get a top player in the draft.
And in my eyes...
At the same time, though, they probably need to improve their O-line as well, too.
Yeah,
so.
no, 100%.
Excuse me.
In my eyes, Darnell Mooney's good. I think he's a number 2. Claypool, good. Again, I think he's a number 2. Like, they made the trade for Claypool and have Darnell Mooney already. I just don't think either of those can be that guy that, like, stands out and makes plays like a Justin Jefferson or a Stephon Diggs or a Jamar Chase or a Tyreek Hill. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like any quarterback needs one of those guys that can get that separation and make those plays to be able to get open in situations like that. Because you got a scrambling quarterback. Everybody knows when you got a scrambling quarterback, you got to come back to the ball, find the quarterback, try to find a soft spot in his zone. And if you're telling me this dude's scrambling for 10 seconds and they can't do that, something's got to give. But I know we kind of shit on the Browns at the beginning, or the Bears at the beginning of the season. But they're showing some signs of promise. I mean, Fields is making some steps. Like we've said before, we'd like to see him throw the ball a little bit more.
Looking at the free agent list here, yeah, it's not good for wide receivers. I'm probably going to have to draft someone.
They're going to have to draft someone for sure. That'll be something to keep an eye on.
Unless they go after someone like Juju, kind of under the radar. But again,
I just don't think any of these guys are true number ones.
You got Allen Lazard, Myers, Juju Smith-Schuster, Jarvis Landry, N'Keal Harry. Isn't he already on the Bears? Yeah.
Could you imagine Juju goes to the Bears and it's Juju and Claypool again on the same team? That'd be funny as hell.
Mecole Hardman, again, these are guys you're already taking shots in the dark on, basically.
And again, just have never been perceived as those true number one guys that we like to talk about a lot. But good game overall. Shout out to the Lions. They snuck another one out.
I'm just saying, they have $100 million. I don't know who they're going to buy.
They're going to buy players, but I don't see them buying a wide receiver out of that market.
Looking at the O-line here, you can get Mitch Morris, the center. You can get from Buffalo, Rodney Hudson from the Cardinals, Jack Conklin from Cleveland, the right tackle. You can literally rebuild your whole O-line, no fucking problem.
This looks like
Jason Kelce from the Eagles.
He's either going to retire or re-sign as an Eagle, I think.
Yeah, I don't think he leaves, but yeah.
I think this is going to be a case of two things can happen here in this offseason for the Bears.
I'll tell you what, this is going to be a fun team to play in Madden.
Oh, absolutely. Two things can happen for the Bears, in my opinion, in this upcoming offseason, which I know it's still a little early to talk about, but they're gonna sign a lot of offensive linemen potentially, build up their defense a bit. I don't see them getting any skill position guys in the free agency. I think they're going to have to look at the draft for that. But I can almost see them not spending a whole lot this offseason and hoping for a better offseason.
Better class next year?
Next year, yeah, versus draft and just free agency altogether. So it may be the Bears, like we've talked about, just still a couple more years out from being a competitive team and getting there. But I think they're taking the right steps. Their front office is doing pretty well so far, so we'll see what happens. Next, we got the Jaguars and the Chiefs. I expected this to be a little bit better game. It was a good game, but the Jaguars kicker missed 2 field goals. That would have been 6 points. It would have made it, what's 17 plus 6? 23. It would have been 27-23. But at one point, it was 21-10. And it would have been 21-16 if the kicker made those 2 field goals, and the game would have just played out a little bit differently. But it was 21-10 going in the half because he missed those 2 field goals, and the Jags were just down. But again, we just see here that a team like the Jags
is doing whatever he wanted this game.
Yeah,
man.
The Jags just aren't
4 touchdowns, 331 yards. Was just balling.
The Jags just aren't in a position right now to compete with these powerhouse teams, in my opinion. I think they've taken steps to get there. I think Trevor Lawrence needs to take another step. I think next year we'll see when they get Calvin Ridley. If that works out, that'll be a huge help. But they got some pieces now, and they are competitive in some games. But against a team like the Chiefs, I just don't.
It's not good enough to win these games.
Yeah, no,
this is the problem.
But yeah, another dominating win for the Chiefs. They're sitting at 7-2. They're in a good spot. This will be good for the Jags, though. I mean, they get another top draft pick. You know what I mean? What they have 2 first rounds back to back. I mean, right now potentially it could be 3 first overall picks. I think the Texans probably get this year's, but we'll see what happens. Next, we got the Browns at the Dolphins. Nick, your team dominated. They ran the ball. Take? Yeah, this is your take. I want to hear it.
My segment. Let me set up here for this one. This was by far the best game I've seen the Dolphins play as a whole. And when I say as a whole, I mean defense, offense, special teams, still ass, not good. But we pretty much started this game out. It was a nice kick return for the Browns. I was like, holy shit, don't do this to me. I don't need this right now. Jacoby Brissett literally went perfect. I think I want to say the first almost
That
two
first
drives was
drive,
perfect.
first drives for the
Like
Browns
just
look good.
dotting them up,
Yeah.
like just dotting them up. And I was like, well, this is not a good start. I expected the defense to be better because again, like I've been telling you about it. How, like our defense hasn't been. They're bending and breaking a lot, but they're making adjustments like almost in the second half.
Yeah.
But this is one of the games where it's like they seem to adjust a lot faster. Because once the Browns had that first drive after that, it was pretty much like dead. Like they couldn't do anything else after that almost.
Yeah.
Nick Chubb was getting shut the fuck down basically the whole game except for his one run that he broke out. Tua was basically doing whatever he wanted with the ball. Wasn't going to Waddle. Wasn't going to Hill. Was going to Sheffield and all these other players. Jeff Wilson balled out. Raheem Mostert balled out. Like the running game completely opened up in this game, and I was telling you about it earlier that this is a hard team to defend on paper. I don't even know how defensive coordinators sleep at night going against this team because you have Waddle, you have Hill, you take those guys away. Next, no, boom, Jeff Wilson's breaking off 20-yard runs.
Yeah.
Like, boom, Raheem Mostert's catching short passes and breaking it for 20 yards. Like, it's a hard team to defend. Like, there's speed everywhere, there's playmakers everywhere. Even then, when you take away their fast guys, like you still have Gesicki to go up for the jump balls. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I saw Tua throw a couple in the end zone for him, which is cool to see because he's putting it where only his guy can get it. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, he had a nice throw on his, I think it was his second or third TD, where he threw it to the back of the end zone to Trent Sheffield, who looks like prime-time Jarvis Landry, and it was just a beautiful throw, beautiful catch, like, and it's just that's what you want to see out of Tua, man. Like, in my opinion, I know I'm a Homer fan here, but it's like he's got to be in the MVP conversation. And like we talked about it before, he's either number 2 or he's number 3, right behind Jalen Hurts.
Do you think this was... and the only reason I ask this is because I've heard a couple people say it, just analysts and things like that. Do you think that this is Tua's best game so far this season?
No.
No? Okay.
I think the thing is like he's played 3 weeks back in a row where he's like... They're great games, but I don't see how you can not put his Ravens game and say it's not his best game of the season or of his career.
Yeah.
The only game he could argue, I think it was last week's game where he was pretty much like perfect.
Yeah.
I think that one or maybe even the Lions one might be better. But one of the I don't know, it's like I don't see how you can top the Ravens game. Like that was a complete fucking
game. Yeah.
like that was like Madden type shit. But again, like it was just nice to see the defense stepped up this game. They were getting pressure. Again, I guess I told you before, like our defense can get pressures, it seems like, but it's just especially when we traded for Bradley Chubb, we were getting the pressure against the Bears, but he just kept stepping up and outrunning the defense pretty much.
Yeah. I think it was definitely a good game to watch as far as like a football standpoint, like just overall football. The Dolphins looked very dominating. I will say on the Browns side of the ball, like I know they were down a good bit in this game for a few quarters or whatever, but in my eyes, I see the Browns, at least right now without Watson, I see them as a Tennessee Titans, right? You got somebody like Nick Chubb, that's your guy. He needs to be somebody you're feeding the ball to 20 times a game, 30 times a game, like. And again, I know it's hard, game script, you're down a little bit, but I think you still have to try to stick with that as much as possible. And when Nick Chubb's only getting the ball 11 times, I feel like that's not good for a team like the Browns. You know what I mean?
I think the thing is, too, is that their game plan going in here is probably a little bit different because of how pass-heavy we've been. They probably thought, holy shit, you're going to have to go toe-to-toe. You know what I mean?
But that's what I'm saying. I think it comes down to
the
coaching.
game didn't play out like that, and they definitely should have made that adjustment.
It comes down to coaching, though. You know that you don't have the quarterback to go that touchdown for touchdown with a team like Miami or anybody in that scenario, right? Like you know your strengths are running the ball. Like I don't see how you can game plan with somebody like Jacoby Brissett to try to get in a shootout with a team. Like I think the coach just needs to figure that out and just feed fucking Nick Chubb at the end of the day. And that's the only way they're going to win some of these games.
Like I said, it was also hard to just feed him, too, because he was getting stuffed in the back a lot, too. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's like I didn't see the Browns winning this game, and
No, I didn't either. Yeah.
I think at a certain point it was like 30-10.
Yeah, no.
So-
And that's what I'm saying. It's hard to run the ball in those situations, but yeah, I definitely think going forward, they just
Should have
need
been
to
a
try
40
to-
bomb, by the way,
But
but
they missed the extra point.
I think we missed 2.
Yikes.
Fucking Jason Sanders. I told you, man.
Kicker.
Special teams ain't it. I told you.
All right, so moving on next, we got the Texans at the Giants. Saquon had another day. The Giants are sitting at 7-2, which is crazy to look at next to their name. Like,
A way closer game than it should have been. I heard Janine literally yelling
no,
the whole time, like, throw it,
Bro.
do this, do that. I'm like, oh my god.
yeah, that's what I'm saying though. Like, and it's not even nothing against the Jets. It's the Texans. Every single time they've played somebody, Nick, it's been a close game. That's why, like, when we talked about the Texans and the Eagles on that Thursday night game last week, like, people are saying, like, oh, well, they didn't play their best game. And, I mean, yeah, they didn't. But it's just something about the Texans every time they play somebody this year. It's a so much closer game than it should be. And it's fucking crazy. Like, I don't get it.
Well, we have a bye this week, but we play you next week, so I can't wait to see.
Bro,
What happens?
I'm going to laugh. Like, y'all are going to lose that game, of course. But I'm going to laugh if that game is like a 20-12
Like a
game
one-score
or
like a
something like
one-score
that, bro.
type game.
Because, again, the Texans just somehow continue to stay 8-10 points away from these games, and it blows my fucking mind. Like, it just makes me laugh at the end of the day. But, I mean, Giants took care of business. Yeah, it was close. Got a little scary at the end, maybe, but I think the Texans scored like a touchdown or a field goal with like 8 seconds left, and it's like, why are you? Whatever.
I saw Slayton. He broke one out for a touchdown there.
Mm-hmm.
Saquon Barkley, 152 yards. Like, they gave this guy the ball 35 times, Craig.
Saquon?
Yep.
How many
36
rushing
times.
yards he had?
One receiving target there, one catch. He had 35 rushing attempts, 152 yards, 4.3 at carry, 1 TD, 27 was his longest.
Jesus.
Like, they just fed him.
I mean,
Daniel Jones only passed the ball 17 times.
I mean, they know their identity. You know what I mean? Like,
that's what I'm saying. Like, that's a team that knows what they do best, and
Yeah.
is run the ball.
It's the same thing with the Titans, and again, it goes back to the Browns.
I'll say
Like,
this though: Darius Slayton made the most of his 4 targets, 3 catches, 95 yards, a
Jesus
TD.
Christ. I heard Kenny Galladay was back and was gonna, like, quote unquote take his role back as the number 1
yeah.
and completely shit the bed again.
He had a drop, and then they got benched.
Giants fans are coming at his throat on Twitter. It's so fucking funny.
Looking at the stats, he had 2 targets. Oh, here you go. Janine just said, "Fuck Galladay."
I told you, bro. Like, they just need to do whatever they can to get out of
That's
that
gotta
contract.
be one of the worst contracts of the decade now,
Yeah,
right?
we've talked about it. That one's up there.
Sorry, what she just said? She said he missed an open throw.
Yeah. That's yeah. I heard that going into the game. I was like, Kenny Galladay's coming back, and he's gonna potentially.
I mean, what's
take
crazy
his
is
role
Kenny
back
Galladay
and-
didn't do anything, and then you had for the Chiefs there, you had Tony catch his first TD in his career.
Yeah. Did you see the celebration he did?
Negative, I didn't see it. Why?
So he was like wide open on the fucking sideline. Like, I guess they just missed him somehow. He was standing over there, and then he caught the ball and like ended up almost stepping out of bounds and ended up like hopping, tiptoeing on 1 foot, and then ended up doing that all the way to the end zone. And that was his like touchdown celebration too, because he kept doing it. And people are like, "Oh, he's faking the hamstring injury that he had the whole time, and he's just throwing a jab at the Giants." Like, I'm like, dude, y'all are fucking reaching, but I mean, maybe.
Did you see the Tyreek Hill celebration?
Oh, the fucking, didn't he point at the girl referee?
Yeah, he tried to shake her hand.
Yeah.
She didn't shake, and he like fainted.
And then he fainted and he like grabbed his heart and the dude had to fucking resuscitate him. That shit was comedy, bro. Leave it up to Tyreek to do some shit like that. That dude is a comedian.
Wait, Janine, what are you talking about? You're one of these clowns. What clown? The one that thought he was gonna take his job back? Is that what you're saying?
Wait, who was?
She's because you're talking about right before we went off about the Tony celebration and the Tyreek one. You were saying that he was coming back to take his job, and she said I was one of those clowns thinking that he was gonna take his job back.
Oh, I never saw it, bro. Kenny Galladay ain't shown shit in fucking New York. Like, that guy's been a bust of all busts as far as like contract signings. Yeah, I don't know. That's what a lot of people expected. Like I saw that tweet and I saw a couple people talking about it and they're like, he's back, let's go. And then I'm just like, bro, I don't know about that. Another win for the Giants though, 7-2 there with the Dallas
I
loss
saw
that
Brian
we're going to talk
Dable
about
go
later.
up on the sideline over a false.
Dude, twice
false
he was
start
fucking yelling at them big boys.
It was like a false start on a 4th down. They were gonna go for it, and he false started. Boom! He fucking was freaking. I was like, oh my god, giving it to him.
I love that out of him. He's got so much energy, man. He gets you excited to play. Even when he's yelling at you, he's probably getting you excited to play. I mean,
the comeback season for Galladay, babe, has been shut down.
Yeah, fuck Kenny Galladay.
It's been shut down.
Next we got the Saints at the Steelers, an ugly game. I just expected the Saints to be more competitive, man.
They were showing this on Red Zone. Fucking Kenny Pickett steps back to throw it, and it's way over the head of someone. I'm like, well, I'm like, that's a great highlight.
Real good. TJ Watt was back though. He was being a fucking nuisance as always. That's good to see. I'm telling you, he was gonna have such a good season, Nick, and then the injury just.
Defensive Player of the Year, probably.
Yeah,
but
that fucking first game, he just fucking balled, man. Sucks to see, but he's back. So
I saw Najee Harris. I don't know, did he come back to the game? But he was hurt. I saw at one point on the sidelines.
Yeah, I think he came back. They finally were able to run the ball, which I don't think is gonna last, but we'll see. But yeah, Najee Harris is just fucking struggling this year. A lot of people are. It's funny because a lot of people on like TikTok and shit are like talking about like people like Najee Harris and like DeAndre Swift, and they'll always like bring up show plays to where like they could have fucking just ran straight through and gotten a first down or a touchdown, but they tried to get all fancy and fucking ended up getting stopped short. Like, just sometimes you just got to hit the fucking hole and go, man. I mean, even talking about the Lions, DeAndre Swift had a touchdown that he could have got that he fucking like tried to hurdle a dude instead of just running at the dude and would have fell in the end zone, but he tried to hurdle him instead and got stopped short.
It's funny you actually mentioned that because when I was at Janine's, we were playing Madden, and when we were playing online. Or no, maybe I was at no. I think we were just playing online, the Super Side KO mode, right?
Yeah.
And I would like hand her the ball, and she would like go sideways, and I'm like, just run fucking forward. I'm like, just go, just run the ball. Stop trying to go zigzag. Like, just run.
Sometimes you gotta just go forward, see if you can break a tackle, and then you get a big one. You know what
I'm saying? It's like you get scared, like the guy's in the hole, but it's like just go for it. Fuck it. Like,
put the fucking
follow the
head
play
down and run. Yeah, and I mean Najee needs to do that more. DeAndre Swift needs to do that more. Just trying to get too fancy with it. I think that's why we're seeing like the backup for the Steelers starting to get some better yardage than Najee, because I think he's just hitting the fucking holes and going. You know what I mean?
I apologize, Janine. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you just throw under the bus like that.
She said, "Not you exposing my Madden skills." Oh my god.
You hate to see it. That's funny as hell. Next we got the Broncos and the Titans. I mean, this played out about how any Broncos-Titans game you would expect.
This was one of the dumbest games I've ever seen. It was like 10-3 for the longest point.
Oh my god.
And then they did the flea flicker, and then they scored, and I'm like, okay, here we go. And then it just went back to like a stalemate. Like, nobody could do anything after that. I'm like, holy man, like, what are we doing here?
I'm just... And the only reason the Titans struggled a little bit is because the Broncos' defense, like their run-stopping defense is really good. And of course, the Titans love to run with Derrick Henry. So Derrick Henry kind of got shut down. So I think that's why we saw this be a low-scoring game on the Titans side of the ball. I mean, but you expect this out of the Broncos. Like, Russell Wilson's fucking washed. They all suck.
Russell Wilson is like, he needs to be under an experiment. Because, like, how do you go from, like, a good MVP type player and then like completely just falling off? Because like there was like times where I was watching the game where he had time to throw it, and then he like the pressure starts getting there, and then it's like he's just running around trying to make a play, boom, he gets sacked. And I'm like, well, what are we doing? You are a veteran quarterback. There's no way you're standing there for like 10 minutes waiting to make a throw. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I just genuinely don't know what's going on there, man. Like, I try to think about it, and I'm like,
you ever watch the Looney Tunes, the movie with Michael Jordan?
Yeah, the Space Jam.
And and they sucked out their powers. Like, that's what happened to him.
You know what's funny is
it doesn't make
I
sense.
literally, while you were talking a second ago, I was like, this dude had to have gotten fucking sucked up by aliens and they took his powers away. Like, before you, like, because that's the only explanation you have. Like, how does he go from that to that in one season? It just is baffling to me. I don't know.
Like, he always started seasons off hot and like cooled off, but like never like this bad has he like ever been, really.
Definitely
It's
looking
just,
like
it's
a bad
baffling.
move for the Broncos right now. And again, we've said it before. I don't know if it's coaching. I don't know if it's Russell, but right now it looks like it's a little bit of both. But I definitely think Russell is making bad decisions all over the place. Next, we got the Colts at the Raiders. The Raiders just continue to surprise me on the fact that they are the most
Raiders lost to a
team.
coach who's never coached anything outside of high school football.
That's bad.
Like,
That's how you know you need a new head coach.
like, you lost to someone that literally has never coached college, professional, anything.
You know what's funny, Nick?
Like, that's wild.
There's one play that the Raiders had that they showed on Red Zone that you probably saw. And it just goes, it literally just completely explains the season for the Raiders. Davante Adams, it's like 3rd and 14, 3rd and 16, some crazy number like that. Davante Adams catches a screen pass, literally breaks like 9 tackles, puts the fucking team on his back to get a first down and then some. And then it gets called back for a flag. It's like, Davante Adams is out here doing things that he's never done before. And is just being completely fucking a playmaker out there, and the team is just throwing it all away. You know what I mean? Like, I feel bad for Davante Adams at this point. Like, he goes from the Packers to here, and yeah, the Packers are doing just as bad, but still, like, it just tough play for the Raiders overall, man.
I think a big thing too is Derek Carr.
Yeah, he's struggling this year, and it just. You never know because there's a lot that goes on behind the scenes. But when a player goes from being a competent quarterback to how they're playing this year, it just makes you think that the only thing that's changed between those 2 years is the coach. So it makes you think that it's got to be the coach's problem, whether it's play calling, scheme, or whatever. Like, I don't know, man. It's weird altogether.
It's crazy to me that a team with Hunter Renfrow, Devontae Adams, Darren Waller, Josh Jacobs, Derek Carr, and a pretty not too bad defense, right? It has playmakers on there.
Yeah.
Is now 2-7.
I will say in the defense of that argument, Hunter Renfrow and Darren Waller feel like have been.
I mean, yeah, they've been injured throughout the year,
season.
but it's just crazy to me that it's like I don't think anyone saw this ever coming. That this team was going to be that bad.
Not at all. Nobody saw this at all, Nick.
Like, it's wild to me.
On the other side of the ball, Jonathan Taylor had another Jonathan Taylor-like performance. I say another. He hasn't had one since last season.
Well, his first one was...
No, he had week 1.
His first one at the beginning of the year was good, and after that, it fell off again.
So... I don't know if that's Jeff Saturday coming in and changing the O-line scheme or something, and they're getting the ball back rolling with JT, or was this just a fluke against a bad defense at the moment? Like, we'll see what happens next week. Yeah.
Hopefully he's back, because this is why I drafted you first overall, you bum.
This is why the whole world drafted him first overall. Next we got... Probably a shocker to most. I think we picked the Cowboys, so to us too.
Real quick, Craig.
What?
For the Raiders here. Their over-under for their season wins now is 5.5. Are you betting the over-under on them?
I'm taking the under all day, and I'm hammering down.
And then real quick, it's paying $29 for them to make the playoffs. Are you accepting that?
Hell no. Wait. So if you bet $1, you get $29?
Yeah, if they make the playoffs.
God damn, that's a hell of a bet. But no, they're not
Jesus.
making the playoffs.
5.5 games.
I think their odds right now are like 5%. I think I saw that on the game yesterday. They were talking about the odds for the teams to make the playoffs. They were at like 5, and the Broncos were like 25.
So they would have to win an additional 4 games for that. I think I might bet the under on it, honestly. The way they're playing right now. Yeah,
Bro,
like in order for
I'm sorry,
under.
there's
Like,
literally
I'd take
no
the
way
under.
they win 4 more times, Nick.
That's
You
what I'm saying,
definitely
yeah.
take the under. That's not a bad bet. I don't know what the payout is on it, but
It's not bad.
right now they just seem like they're in shambles.
Anyway, moving on though.
Next we got probably a stunner. Cowboys, Packers. I mean, this just boils down to Dak Prescott making too many mistakes. I mean, he threw 2 picks. Aaron Rodgers kind of had an Aaron Rodgers performance.
Another shocker of a game though.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Like, I can't believe they lost this. Like, they really fucking choked.
Yeah, this puts them 3rd in the division too, the Cowboys, behind the Giants and the Eagles.
I'm just gonna say real quick, I'm not worried about the standings for the NFC. The standings in the NFC are so bad.
I'm not either, but I just pointed that out for people out there.
Definitely sucks that they're not in the division though now, because like you're falling behind now.
Yeah, and this is the same conversation we have with the Bucks. I think it's the Eagles' division to lose at this point. I mean, the Cowboys and Giants and teams like that will definitely have to play for a wild card spot, in my opinion.
Real quick, looking at the AFC, the cutoff is the Patriots at 5-4. The ones looking outside looking in are the Chargers 5-4, Bengals 5-4, Colts 4-5.
Yeah.
And then you go to the NFC. The last team to make it in right now is the 49ers at 5-4. Commanders are 4-5. Packers are 4-6. Like, just completely different.
So we'll see what happens. The rookie Christian Watson finally stayed healthy for a whole game and had himself a day. 3 touchdowns.
3 tutties. That was crazy.
Yeah.
Aaron Jones was having himself a day too.
I mean, honestly, bro, like, I know
138 yards, 1 touchdown. Like,
I know we talk
not
about
a bad day
in
at
the
the
past
offense.
the Cowboys' defense has been good, but the Packers kind of made them look mediocre. I mean, they put 31 on their head.
They put 31 up on.
Like, that's something that might need to be watched. Other teams might need to be watching film on what the Packers did. You know what I mean? Because I know a lot of teams have struggled against it. But
you know what I love doing
what?
after a Cowboys loss? I'm going to Skip Bayless's Twitter.
That's funny. The Cowboys had a bye last week, right? And then the week before that, they played the Bears and gave up like 30 points to the Bears too. So this is back-to-back bad weeks for the Cowboys defense. And that's definitely been a strength for them. So I think with that being said, they need to figure it out if they want to keep winning these games. I don't know. Giving up 31 points is never good, but
especially to a fucking Packers team that's looked terrible all year.
Yeah, definitely crazy to see. Next, we got Cardinals at the Rams, the battle of the backup quarterbacks. Colt McCoy looked better as a quarterback than Kyler Murray does. Don't at me.
I mean, I don't know. I'll be wrong. Like,
oh, fuck, man. I don't even have much to say about this game just because backup quarterbacks, like, this game is kind of a wash to me.
This game is a wash in general. You got a 4-6 team versus a 3-6 team. Like,
pull up the stats, Nick. How many targets and catches did DeAndre Hopkins have? Because I know it was a lot. He was
Hopkins had 14 targets, 10 catches, 98 yards, no touchdowns. Rondale Moore right behind him with 13, 9, 94, and then James Conner had 3.
Yeah, so
James Conner kind of had a decent game, especially for fantasy-wise. 21 attempts, 69 yards. Only 3.3 an average, but 2 touchdowns.
Oh, that's big.
And on top of the PPR, if you played that, he had 3 targets, 3 catches for 17 yards. So not a bad day for him.
Yeah.
He's been kind of having a bad year compared to last year, and then he flipped the script here. You go to the Rams. What is this guy, John Wolford, right?
Wolford.
24 of 36, 212, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 3 sacks. They put Cam Akers back in, Craig. He had 6 attempts for 22 yards. Donald Henderson right there with 6 for 21.
The Rams O-line is just horrendous, man.
The only difference is Henderson had 1 touchdown.
Yeah.
The tight end was being fed in this system here with 8 targets, 8 catches, 73 yards. That's pretty much it.
At one point in the game, Cooper Kupp had 3 receptions with -1 yards.
He ended up finishing the game with 5 targets, 3 catches, -1 yard.
Oh, so he stayed like that the whole game.
Yep.
Yikes. That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, just like I said, don't have much
It
to
says
say
here
about that one.
his longest catch was 2 yards, and then his average was negative .3.
Yeah, because I think he had like a negative like 3 or 4 yard.
Yeah, he must have
catch.
caught like a little short pass, got 2 yards, and then the
Yeah.
other 2 passes he had to just got hit behind the line.
Yeah. Yeah, Cardinals pull one out. This is good for them if they're trying to keep their playoff hopes alive. I mean, we talked about it before,
No.
the NFC.
No.
I don't think they're making the playoffs.
They're not alive.
They're definitely still in the running because the NFC is so weak. I think they're like 3 spots out of the fucking wild card. 2 spots.
As of right now, they are 1, 2, 3, 4 spots.
4
Or 3
spots?
spots. They're the number 11 team.
Gotcha.
They're behind the Falcons at 4 and 6, the Packers at 4 and 6, and the Commanders at 4 and 5.
Gotcha.
So if the Commanders lose, then they probably should move up, right?
Yeah, I think so.
I mean, it's doable, but I don't.
No, it is, but they're playing so bad, like I just don't see it possible. Next we got the Chargers and the 49ers.
The game that put you to sleep.
I know bullshit fell asleep in the middle of this game. Like, Chargers had like 10 points on the board, and then I passed out for like an hour and woke back up like 3 minutes left in the third quarter. Yeah, I don't know what happened a whole lot during this game. Nick?
Honestly, it was just a bad game for both teams. Like, seemed like the 49ers were a bit more confident and like they could move the ball by running it with McCaffrey, but man, fucking, like I told you with Eckler, like they just did not give him the ball.
Yeah.
Like they wanted to turn him into Josh Allen, I guess, with Herbert. And I don't know, like they just could not I think they said that Herbert had like 3 yards or something like that in the second half. Like,
Jesus.
something crazy like that. Like, it was not a good day for them. Like, he's threw the ball 35 times, completed 21 passes for 196 yards, 1 TD, 1 interception. Eckler had 6 attempts running. Justin Herbert alone had 5. Like, I don't know. It just, the way the game was going, it just didn't make sense. Like,
Yeah.
the Chargers should have put up way more points than they should have, they should have put up way more points than they did. But for whatever reason, their drive just kept stalling out when they got like going a little bit. And then, like I said, the Chargers just could not get anything going in the second half at all.
Bro, the Chargers started off good too, because I remember that first drive.
I would look at them. I was gonna say, I look at them, and then like boom, it's like first down's gone, second down gone. Oh, they're punting it already. I'm like, what? Like,
I remember that first drive. They like ran the ball like 3 times with Eckler, and then had a good pass, and then literally had that passing touchdown. Like, it seemed like 5 plays they were already in the end zone, and I was like, oh shit! Like, Chargers might be moving the fuck out of the ball this game, but they just, like you said,
that died out.
the whole time.
That died out real quick.
So another win for the 49ers. They got so many weapons, man. Like, they need to start figuring out how to move the ball better overall, and just because
the thing I'll say real quick too about the Chargers, like I told you, is that like to me it's like Justin Herbert doesn't like wow me or anything. Like,
right.
There's times where it's like he makes the splashy big throw or like a crazy like, oh, he forces it in there, like cool, that's great and all. But then how about the other like 34 pass attempts or whatever he throws? Like, you know what I mean? It's like sometimes I'm just watching this guy and it's like he's so slow. Like, he's standing there holding the ball, looking. It's like, I get like you're playing with backup players, but at the same time, you're now in year 3. You got to know, like, I got to get rid of this ball. My O-line's not as best as it could be. My playmakers aren't as good as around me. Let's just dump it off, throw it to my check down, or let's just fucking throw it away, keep it alive for a second down instead of eating a sack or getting the ball knocked out of my hands for a potential fumble. Like, you know what I mean? Like, you got to play better than that.
No, 100%. I agree.
And I'll just add on to it the 49ers point. Like, I feel like they got to find ways to... Like, they got to find ways to use their playmakers. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think...
Like, they got to find better ways to utilize them. Like, how to scheme them up. Because it seems like Mitchell was having the better day running it, so I like that they kept giving it to him more.
Yeah.
He ended up finishing with 89 yards. McCaffrey had 14 attempts for 38 yards. But it seems like Deebo Samuel has now become lost in this game, in this system. You know what I mean? Like, he was a guy that was, like, feasting, getting running carries. He was getting fucking throws. Like, it's almost like now he's starting to kind of disappear a little bit.
And I'm wondering if that's just because there's too many mouths to feed. I mean, you got Kittle, you got Samuel, you got McCaffrey, you got Brandon
Mitchell.
Ayuk, who's making a comeback. You got Mitchell, who's back from injury. Like, you got 5 potential playmakers there that I think they're just trying to... I think it's because they know they have so many playmakers and they want to get everybody the ball. But sometimes you just have to have a guy that is that guy for that game. You know what I mean? Like, and until they key in on that guy, then you move to the next guy. Or if that guy's covered, then you move on to the next guy. But, like, I mean, George Kittle had, 2 targets this game? They split the backfield with both of those, with McCaffrey and Mitchell. Like you said, Debo wasn't very much involved. I know Debo
He got 6 targets for 2 catches.
Yeah.
And then he had 4 carries. That's it.
I think they might just be trying to get too cute with it. You know what I mean? Like, trying to scheme up too much stuff, and some of these
I just like
special plays they like running.
Kyle Shannon's maybe thinking about it too much. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. Like just
get the ball in your fucking guys' hands. Like,
yeah.
Don't overthink it. Just fucking do what you've been doing.
Yeah.
Like,
and I will say, I feel like the games that they play better in, they utilize George Kittle more often in those games, and I feel like a guy like that, I'm not saying you got to force feed him, but get him more than 2 targets. The dude's such a dynamic tight end that, you know what I mean? Like, he's got to be seeing the ball.
He's got to get the ball in his hands. Like, he is dynamic, like you said. He can easily turn a 4-yard catch into, boom, a 10-yard gain, a 15-yard gain. Boom, just like that. He moves the chains. Like, you got to be looking at that guy on 3rd downs or close seconds and 2s, like things like that. Like, he can get open.
Yeah.
And he can make plays with the ball in his hand.
I mean, he's not a Travis Kelce or a Mark Andrews. Like, I get that, but even then, he's still up there with those guys and is just as dynamic as they are. You know what I mean? Like, I understand you like to utilize him a lot in the blocking game because he's such a fucking just dog and likes to block.
He's basically a left tackle right now.
What I mean? Yeah, so it's like that's all you're using him for? Come on, man. Get him the ball more. The dude is just a beast. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
We'll see what happens. Again, I think, like you said, he's thinking about it too much. They're just trying to get too cute. They know they got a lot of weapons. They're trying to spread it out, but I don't know if that's going to be the right way to go about it. I know there's going to be somebody that's not getting targeted for a game, but, I mean, that's how it is. I mean, we see sometimes Jefferson only gets a couple catches in a game, or Devontae Adams only gets a couple catches. It just happens that way. I mean, sometimes those guys are just covered and they can't get the ball, or whatever the case may be. So we'll see what happens. Next, we got the Commanders. Monday night game, we got the Commanders and the Eagles. We both picked the Eagles. I assume this should be a dominating win for the Eagles, but Taylor Heineke...
It's a division game.
Yeah,
anything can happen, you know?
It's a division game. We always talk about it, and Taylor Heineke always has a way of staying in these games. So I hope it's a good game either way. Like, I want the Eagles to take the dub, keep the undefeated going, but I hope it's a good game altogether.
Yeah, I hope it's a close game, like a 1-score game.
Yeah.
And we just get a good, solid Monday night game in tonight, because if it's just a blowout, I'm not even going to watch. Like,
I hear you. All right, so that's going to wrap up our Week 10 recap. Again, like I said at the beginning of the show, like, just a good week of football overall. Like, there was some sloppy play, of course, but that's going to happen. But I think it was just a good week of football. We had some exciting things happen. The Bills-Vikings game was just crazy. Like, it was a good week, in my opinion. I think we're ready for Week 11 predictions. Nick, you ready?
Yep.
I just want to shout out real quick. I know for those of y'all that have been keeping up with the episodes and paying attention, I was down like 7 games at the beginning of the season, like week 3 or 4. I've slowly been inching back. Finally tied it last week. Your boy is up 3 games now. We made the full-blown comeback. We're sitting in the hot seat. We need to extend that lead now. You know what I'm saying? We got to extend it. So, sitting at 90, 58, and 1, and Nick is sitting at 87, 61, and 1. So, I'm excited. Trying to grow the lead. All right, so starting off, we got Thursday night game. Titans and the Packers. Probably going to be an ugly one. Who you taking?
I'm going to go Titans.
I'm going Titans, too. I can't pick the Packers over that one win over the Cowboys. They've just been playing too bad, man. All right, excuse me, sorry. Next Sunday, or real quick, who do we have on bye this week, Nick? We got quite a few teams on bye.
Buys this week are Jacksonville Jaguars, Miami Dolphins, Seattle Seahawks, and Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So, what is that, 2 games?
2 games, yeah. RIP to my whole fantasy team, by the way. Missing Tyreek Hill, Travis Etienne, and Kenneth Walker, and the Bucs defense. I'm going to be down bad. Next, starting off Sunday games, the day slate, we got
Bears
the Bears
Falcons.
at the Falcons. I'm taking the Bears, man. They've been just
I'm right
fighting.
there with you.
Next, we got the Panthers and the Ravens, taking the Ravens.
Yep.
Next, we got the Browns and the Bills. I don't see the Bills losing 3 in a row. I think they come back in fashion and win this game.
Yep. I think the Bills win this as well.
Next, we got the Commanders at the Texans. I'm taking the Texans on an upset.
Kind of upset because I was gonna take the Texans.
Fuck
And I was
it.
hoping you're gonna take the Commanders.
I feel like the
Eagles,
Texans
Colts.
squeak one out somehow. You picking
That's
the
what I was
Texans too?
thinking. Yeah, I'm
Alright,
going.
fuck it. I like it.
Eagles at the Colts here.
Eagles at the Colts. I'm taking the fucking Eagles.
Yeah, I'm gonna take the Eagles as well.
Alright. Next, we got the Jets coming back from a bye and the Patriots coming back for a bye. Patriots kind of put it on the Jets last time they played. This is a tough one for me.
Okay.
What?
I'm gonna go Patriots. She was telling me something. She told me not to say it. I'm going with the Patriots on this one.
Is this some insider info? Is she cheating out here?
No. I'm going with the Patriots, and I'm specifically going with this because we talk about it all the time. Billy Belichick does what he does best, and that's take away your game plan. The Jets' game plan this season to be winning is defense and run game. He's going to shut down the run game, stack the box, get everyone down there. Jets are going to fucking have to rely on Zach motherfucking Wilson. He's going to have to throw it 30 times this game. That's my bet. That's my prediction. Throwing it 30 times. He's going to result in 2 picks, maybe 3 picks, and he's going to get sacked a couple times. He ain't going to win it.
I'm going to take the
How's that
Patriots,
sound?
too. No, I mean, it's the same thing we talked about last time they played. Like, I think I picked the Jets the last time they played because they were kind of on a hot streak, and I was like, fuck it, I think the Jets still figure it out. And, I mean, they very well could, but I just think, again, like you said, Billy just takes away what they do best, and it's going to rely on Zach. So, I'm going to go Patriots.
Rams at Saints.
I think the Saints make a quarterback switch and look a little bit more dynamic with Jameis. I'm going to take the Saints. And the Rams are just bad.
I'm going Saints as well. If Matt was healthy and Cup was healthy, maybe, but
I think Matt's going to be back because he's dealing with a concussion. I don't think Cooper Kupp's
I don't think he wants to come back.
Yeah, he probably doesn't, yeah.
He says, just keep me out, my head hurts. I'll wait till Cup comes back.
Yeah, he's getting fucking flashbacks of being back on the Lions.
I mean, they traded away their future for Super Bowl. I mean, you did what you had to do. Now
it's
now
back
it's
to the
time
drawing
to-
board.
Yeah, you got to figure it back out again.
That's funny as fuck. Next
Lions
we got
at the Giants.
Lions at the Giants, huh?
I'm going Giants.
I'm going
Ryan
Giants
Dable.
too. Yeah. They just run all over the Lions.
You're really not going to let me fucking get one back on you. You're just going to copy all my picks.
No, it's bro, these picks, come on. Alright, next we got the Raiders at the
Such
Broncos.
a fake fan here.
I'm a fake fan.
No, she picked the Lions.
She
on
picked
her
the
OT.
Lions?
Yeah.
Yo, that's crazy. Yeah, I'm taking the Giants on that one. Raiders at the Broncos, I'm taking the Raiders.
You're taking the Raiders?
Yeah.
Oh, man. This is going to be such a bad game.
I don't see the Raiders winning many more games like we talked about earlier.
I
But I
don't
think
either.
they- I
I'm
think
going
they-
Broncos. I'm going Broncos. It's
I-
a division game. Anything can happen.
All right.
Maybe Russ puts together a half-decent performance and throws like at least 1 touchdown, 2 touchdowns, and gets the win. You know what's crazy? I seen a stat. that
go.
if the Broncos offense put up, I think it was like 16 points, they're 8-1.
Yeah.
That is fucking wild. Like, Jesus.
The Broncos defense is giving up 14 points a game, like consistently.
Oh, I know.
Like that's good. You know what I mean? If the
I think they're the best defense now, aren't they?
And it's been the same story for the Broncos for the last 2-3 years. Like
their defense is getting up 16.6 as of right now. Best defense right now.
It's crazy. Next we got the
need
Cowboys
to do
at
this
the
one.
Vikings. We take the Vikings. They're gonna be sitting pretty at 9-1, baby. Our picks are looking great right now, Nick.
Vikings all day.
All right, next we got the Bengals at the Steelers, a division game, but the Bengals take this.
Bengals.
Still without Jamar Chase. I have a feeling he might come back next week. I haven't heard anything, but I feel like if they want to make a push for the playoffs, like if Jamar's healthy enough, like they're gonna need him back, man. They don't need him
I'm
this week
typing in
against
my
the
next
Steelers.
picks because I already know who I'm taking.
Next, I'm taking the Chiefs.
Yep. I got the Chiefs as well.
All right, and then Monday night, 7:15 p.m., 49ers at Cardinals. I'm taking the 49ers.
Yep, same as me. We're only disagreeing on one, and it's really just because I want to try and get at least one back.
I hear you.
I really thought you were going to take the Commanders when I took the Texans. I was really hoping that was going to be the one difference.
Well,
but
I did come out and say the Texans first, but we ended up... I didn't expect you to take the fucking Texans. That's why I thought I was going to be surprised on that one.
I thought I was taking it. Real quick, though, before we head to the outro here, I want to but I want to talk about the MVPs here. So, as of right now, this is the updated MVP list.
Are these odds, betting odds?
Yep.
Okay.
So, as of right now, we have Mahomes, Hurts, Tua, Allen now, down to 4th.
Okay.
Lamar, Joe Burrow, Kirk, Geno, Justin Herbert, Tom Brady.
So pretty much about where we're at on it, right? Like, I think I'd probably maybe put Lamar over Allen.
I think so.
But I think they're definitely close. So that's pretty much about where we have it. What's it looking
Just
like for... Go ahead.
For what? Sorry?
No, what were you going to say?
I was going to say just outside the top 10 is Tyreek Hill, Justin Jefferson, Derrick Henry, McCaffrey, Daniel Jones, and then Saquon Barkley.
Interesting. Yeah, I was just going to say I wanted to hear the Offensive Player of the Year one too, if you have it. If there even is one.
Most interceptions thrown, Josh Allen's now the favorite.
Mm-hmm.
Kenny Pickett, Matthew Stafford, David Mills, Kirk Cousins, Mac Jones, Jared Goff, Joe Burrow, Aaron Rodgers, Marcus Mariota. You said the Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
And
then tell me the odds with them too.
Oh, I accidentally closed it, that's why. You said the Offensive Player of the Year?
Yeah.
We have Justin Jefferson at $3.50, Tyreek Hill $5, Jalen Hurts $6.50, Patrick Mahomes $11, Stephon Diggs $12, Lamar Jackson $13, Derrick Henry $17, Josh Allen $17, Saquon $17, Nick Chubb $21.
So they have Jefferson over Tyreek right now. Huh.
He's a favorite by what?
$1.50. Yeah. So they're pretty much
still pretty close.
Yeah. And then one more. I wanted to hear the Rookie of the Year ones.
Rookie of the Year. I'll do both, I guess. I forgot. Did they not have a Rookie of the Year award? Is this rookie offensive and defensive?
It's offensive and defensive. Yeah.
I thought there was just one award for.
No, there's two.
Kenneth Walker. You want the odds too?
Yeah.
We have Kenneth Walker at $1.67, Dameon Pierce at $2.75, and then it completely falls right off, Greg.
Is Olave the next one?
Yeah, $13. Garrett Wilson $23, Kenny Pickett $31, George Pickens $31, Brian Robinson Jr. is still up there at $41, Christian Watson $51, Johan Dotson $51, Rashad White at $51.
So it was pretty much what I was saying to you before we started the episode. How if Kenneth Walker can pass Dameon Pierce in yards, I think he takes it. And then after that, it's just the receivers, and none of them have really been like we talked about Olave. Like I think he's up there for sure, but lately it's really been Damian Pierce and Kenneth Walker.
I mean, it makes sense. Like I said, the drop off is $1.67 to $2.75, and then all the way to 13.
That's crazy. All right, so let me hear the defensive, because me and Nick talked about the offensive defense before the show a little bit, and I was saying how I think Tariq Woolen needs to be the defensive rookie of the year at this moment. Like, I know Sauce has a lot of hype around him, and
I'll tell you right now, spoiler, you ain't gonna like it.
It's Sauce still?
It is Sauce Gardner at 161, Tyreek Woolen 350, Aiden Hutchinson $12, Jack Jones 19, Kayvon Thibodeau 36, Trayvon Walker 36, Yoquan Bisker 41, Devin Lloyd 51, Kyle Hamilton 51, George Karfalofis 51. I don't even know how I say his name.
I mean, I can understand
Karfalofis, I say it?
I think that's close. Yeah. No, I mean, I get Sauce being up there. Like, I think he's definitely top 2. But I think just the 5 picks and the 1 touchdown for Tariq Woolen should catapult him over him a bit. But I mean, I'm not necessarily too mad at those odds. Like, I get it.
I guess we'll wrap up with the Coach of the Year one as well.
Yeah.
So Nick Sirianno $1.69, Kevin O'Connell 6, Brian O'Dable 8, Mike McDaniel 11, Robert Saleh 11, Pete Carroll 11, John Harbaugh 51, Sean McDermott 51, Andy Reid 67, Mike McCarthy 81.
So the drop off is pretty good on those.
They already have just Saturday at 151. Jesus. Yeah, as of right now, makes sense. Nick Sirianno's the favorite. Kevin O'Connell over Brian Dable, I can see that, and then Mike McDaniel at number 4. I mean, I completely agree with this list, not gonna lie.
Which one is this?
For Coach of the Year, how they have Nick Sirianno and then Kevin O'Connell, Brian Dable, Mike McDaniel. Like, I agree with all that.
I like it. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of those are actually pretty much what I was thinking, so I'm not like too mad at them.
There's some that I think you could put someone over someone else, but
absolutely.
But I'm not like fully against it.
Yeah, no, that's pretty good. Pretty good odds.
By far, Micah Parsons is the favorite defensive player of the year at $1.40. Sorry, Nick Bosa's at 8.
Jesus.
Which is shocking to me because he's over Matthew Judon, who's 11, Aaron Donald 26, Myles Garrett 31, Max Crosby 31, Von Miller 31, Zadarius Smith is 36.
Which is crazy.
The 8th favorite.
Which is crazy because Judon's at 11.5 sacks, Zadarius is at 9.5, and Bosa's at 9.5. Like, the 3 sack leaders are that low. Like, not that they're like low, but they're lower than. I know there's again a lot of hype around Micah Parsons. Like, I get it, he's a great player, but I feel like a lot of times for those, I don't know, it's tough. We'll see what happens towards the end of the year, but definitely.
And then just to finish the top 10, it's Chris Jones at 41, Quinnen Williams at 41, and then shut up my guy Patrick Surtain the second. He's the only defensive player way up here, or defensive back, I should say.
Gotcha. Real quick, since we went through that, I want to go ahead and just talk about like some stat leaders, just because we haven't really talked about this a whole lot, and me and Nick like looking at a lot of stats. We talked about.
Oh, sorry. By the way, Craig,
what?
Drake London has fallen off on the offensive rookie of the year. He is 81.
Yeah, I believe it.
81.
That's crazy. He was high up there at the beginning of the year.
He was like one of the favorites.
Yeah. But real quick, just breaking down some stats. I'm not gonna.
Craig,
break
he's
it down
behind the Ravens tight end.
Isaiah Likely, no shot. That's bad. That's bad.
I just saw that. He's behind Isaiah Likely.
That's actually crazy.
He's even behind the Chiefs running back, Isaiah Pacheco.
Pacheco? Isaiah Pacheco.
That's wild. He's tied with James Cook. That's wild.
And James Cook ain't done shit.
Get me off this. There's no way.
All right, so I'm gonna go through like the main categories that most people look at. Just the
He's
top
gonna give us the leaders.
Yeah, I'll give you the leaders. So we got passing yards. We'll start off with that. We got Mahomes in the first with 2,936. Brady second with 2,805. Allen third with 2,733. Burrow in fourth with 2,535. Geno Smith with 2,474. So those are your top 5 passing leaders. Which, good little top 5. I like it. Next we got rushing yards. I know before this week, Derrick Henry was first and Chubb was second. And I think that's because Barkley had his bye or whatever. But Barkley's now in first with 931. Second is Henry with 923. Chubb is in third with 904. Jacobs in fourth with 821. And then the rookie Dameon Pierce with 772. So looking at this, Nick, like you got 3 dudes at 900 already. It's going to be a tight race once the end of the year comes around for the rushing leader. I think any of these 3 guys can get it. So it'll be something exciting to keep an eye out for. Next, which is another exciting thing that me and Nick talked about last night. We were just talking about like Tyreek Hill versus Justin Jefferson and things like that. Receiving leaders, we got Tyreek Hill at 1,148 already, which is crazy. Justin Jefferson close behind him at 1,060. And then we have Stephon Diggs at 985. Jalen Waddle at 878, which is absolutely absurd. 2 Dolphins players with that much already is crazy.
About to be over 1,000 yards.
Yeah. And then 5th, we have Cooper Kupp with 812. So, again, another 3 players, maybe 4 potentially, that could all, like, you know what I mean? It'd be a fight for at the end. Only reason I really genuinely say 3 is because it's going to be hard to keep Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle in the top 3 and maybe potentially compete for first, but it's definitely possible the way that offense is moving the ball. But I really think it's going to come down to 2 people. It's going to be Hill and Jefferson, so I'm excited to see this go back and forth. Tyreek Hill has 1 more week played than Jefferson, so his is a little higher at the moment, but we'll see.
We shall find out this week because the Dolphins are on a bye, so.
Yeah. So that's going to be exciting to watch those rushing leaders and receiving leaders. Defensive leaders, we'll talk about tackles real quick. Jordan Brooks with 104, Zaire Franklin at 97, Foye Sada Oluwakan 95, Rashawn Evans 95, CJ Mosley at 88. Tackles, it's nice. Most of the time it's like a middle linebacker getting all the tackles. Next, the sacks we kind of mentioned earlier. We got Matthew Judon at 11.5, just absolutely smoking fools. Zadarius Smith at 9.5, Bosa at 9.5, Nick Bosa that is, Justin Houston 8.5, and Alex Highsmith at 8.5, which is kind of crazy because if you think about that, Alex Highsmith at 8.5 without TJ Watt, with TJ Watt back, he's probably not going to get as much, but even then, that duo might be fucking something nice to look forward to in the future. You know what I mean? If this dude's already getting 8.5 sacks. And then next we got interception leaders. We got 2 players tied for first with 5. We have C.J. Gardner-Johnson for Philly, Tariq Woolen for Seahawks. And then third, we have Harrison Smith with 4.
2 safeties. That's crazy.
Yeah. 3 safeties. Von Bell's a safety too, isn't he?
No idea. Probably.
Yeah, I think he is. So
that's wild.
3 people tied for second. Harrison Smith, Jordan Poyer, and Von Bell with 4 interceptions. Yeah, so that's your league leaders and like the main stats for offense and defense. Be interesting to see. We got a tight race on some of these. We'll revisit that again at the end of the year when it gets a little closer to that.
My shoulder just cracked.
But I think that's gonna wrap this episode up. We went through week 10 predictions.
Pretty short episode, honestly, compared to usual.
Like minute 30, minute 40. I'll take it. Yesterday or last week we had a long one. But we had to recap all the trades and shit, so that was kind of a special thing. But yeah, that's gonna wrap it up for us. Again, we appreciate y'all. Like, comment, subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you like, what you don't like, what you want us to talk about, things like that. And again, we really do appreciate y'all.
Ask us questions, give us topics to discuss. Go for it.
Tell Nick he's a fucking idiot. That works too.
Pretty much, yeah.
We like it. That being said, that wraps up episode 14. And we will see y'all next week on episode 15. Let's have a good week of football. Peace.